In a museum in Athens behind glass, there is a lump of corroded bronze about the size of a shoebox. For most of the last century, people walked right past it. It looks like junk, a green, crusted, broken thing pulled up from the bottom of the sea. But hidden inside that lump are more than 30 precision gears, hand-cut, interlocking, and 2,000 years old. It is a machine, a computer built by the ancient Greeks. And here is the part nobody can explain. Nothing this complex would appear anywhere on Earth again for the next 1,400 years. It is as if a piece of the future fell into the ancient world and then vanished. Think about what that means. 1,400 years. That is the gap between this device and the first machines in Europe that could even come close. The Roman Empire would rise and fall. The great libraries would burn. Whole civilizations would come and go, and no one would build anything like it again. When modern scientists finally looked inside, one of them said it was like finding a jet engine in the tomb of Tutankhamun. It didn't fit. It couldn't fit. And yet there it was, real, physical, undeniable. So the question that has haunted historians for over 100 years is simple. How did someone 2,000 years ago build this? The story starts in the spring of 1901. A crew of Greek sponge divers, blown off course by a storm, take shelter near a tiny island called Antikythera. While waiting out the weather, they dive, and on the seabed, 40 meters down, they find a wreck, an ancient cargo ship, sunk around the 1st century BC. It is a treasure ship. They bring up bronze statues, marble, jewelry, coins, priceless art from the ancient world, and in among all of it, almost unnoticed, one unremarkable lump of corroded bronze and wood. It goes to the National Museum in Athens with everything else, and there it sits, until months later, the wood dries out, and the lump cracks open, and inside, an archaeologist sees something impossible for its age. A gear wheel, precisely cut teeth in a wheel of bronze. The kind of thing you would expect from a clock, except clocks like that would not be invented for over 1,000 more years. For a moment, everyone assumes it must be a mistake, that the object fell into the wreck later. But the ship is sealed under 2,000 years of seabed. Nothing fell in. It was there from the start. For decades, nobody could make sense of it. The device was too fragile to open, too corroded to read. Scholars argued. Some said it was an astrolabe. Some quietly suggested it was a fake or misdated, because the alternative was too hard to believe. Then, in the 1970s, a physicist and historian named Derek DeSola Price did something new. He couldn't open the mechanism, so he looked through it. Using X-rays and gamma rays, Price imaged the inside of the lump. And what the images showed stunned him. Layers, trains of gears, stacked and meshing together. Dozens of them, far more sophisticated than anyone had imagined. Price realized this wasn't a toy or a simple dial. It was a calculating machine, a device built to model the movements of the heavens. He dated it to roughly the 1st century BC, and he gave it a name that sounds absurd for something so old. He called it a computer. He was right. But even Price could only see shadows. The X-ray images were flat, overlapping, hard to read. The full truth was still locked inside, waiting for a technology that hadn't been invented yet. That technology arrived in 2005. An international team brought in a microfocus X-ray CT scanner, a machine that could see the object not as a flat shadow, but slice by slice. In 3 dimensions, they scanned all 82 surviving fragments, and for the first time, they could read the gears one layer at a time and read the tiny inscriptions carved across the bronze, text that had been hidden and unreadable for 2,000 years. What they found rewrote what we thought the ancient world could do. On the back of the machine were 2 great spiral dials. One tracked the 19-year Metonic cycle, the rhythm that keeps the moon's calendar in step with the sun. The other tracked the Saros cycle, a 223-month pattern that lets you predict eclipses. Let that land. You could turn a crank on this box, and it would tell you the month, the year, and the day a solar or lunar eclipse would darken the sky, years in advance. It even told you what color the eclipse might be and named the winds. There was a dial for the timing of the ancient Olympic Games. There were gears that modeled the moon speeding up and slowing down as it moves across the sky, using a brilliant pin and slot mechanism that mimics an orbit that isn't a perfect circle. This wasn't superstition. This was mathematics turned into bronze. The cosmos running on gears. But one mystery remained: the front. The back was decoded. The front of the mechanism was smashed, incomplete, and the inscriptions hinted at something the surviving gears couldn't explain. Something about the planets. In 2021, a team at University College London, led by a researcher named Tony Freeth, published their answer. They proposed that the front of the machine was a model of the entire known cosmos: the Sun, the Moon, and all 5 planets. The Greeks knew Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Each one displayed on the face of the device, moving at its own correct speed, driven by a system of nested tubes and rings turning one inside another. A hand-cranked model of the solar system as the Greeks understood it, built 2,000 years ago, in a box you could hold in your lap. Every crank of the handle moved the whole universe forward in time. So who built it? The honest answer is, we don't know. No name survives, but a machine this refined is never the first of its kind. It is the product of a long tradition of skill. Something like this had to have ancestors, simpler versions, workshops, teachers. Some researchers, including Freeth, point toward the world of Archimedes, the greatest engineer of the ancient world, who ancient writers said had built devices that modeled the heavens, and that raises the most unsettling part of the whole story. If there was a tradition capable of this, where did it go? The gears of the Antikythera Mechanism have no clear descendants. No comparable machine survives for the next 14 centuries. The knowledge didn't evolve. It didn't spread. It simply stopped, lost with the workshops that made it, the way a candle goes out. We found the Antikythera Mechanism by accident. A storm, a shipwreck, a lump of bronze that almost went unnoticed, which forces a genuinely uncomfortable question. What didn't we find? How many machines, how many ideas, how many quiet geniuses simply sank, or burned, or crumbled, and took their knowledge with them, leaving no trace at all? We like to imagine history as a straight line, always climbing, always progressing. The Antikythera Mechanism says otherwise. It says the past was cleverer than we assumed, and that progress can be lost as easily as it is found. 2,000 years ago, someone built the cosmos out of bronze, and we are only now, with our most advanced machines, learning to read what they already knew. This is Provenance, where we trace the origins of the things that shaped our world, and the genius we very nearly forgot. If you want more secrets, the world lost and then found again, you know what to do.